always, like, when I haven't seen a character, I'm like, oh, let me go sit down and, like, quiz myself on their ability names again. So I was like, Harbor, Cascade Cove, High Tide Reckoning, and then Vice. It's Razorvine, Sheer, Arc Rose, Steel Guardian.
Yes.
I'm excited to see her ult actually happen. If we do get to see her, I would be happy. Her,
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like the best ult, but I do like it.
if we do get to see it, it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's always fun.
I just... Welcome into the Boise State Esports Arena as we are getting ready tonight to cover the Power Esports Conference Week 6 Boise State versus Michigan State Valorant matchup. Tonight is an incredible and exciting night for the Valorant team, as last week we came off of an incredible win throughout the PEC conference, winning every single game in all of our esports competitions. Now this week we weren't as lucky in getting all of that, and our Smash Bros team was not able to get the win that they wanted this week. But now Valorant has a chance to come in and avenge our team and carry the torch forward for Boise State. But it's going to be an interesting matchup because from what we know about Michigan State, they have yet to drop a match in the PEC conference. And so tonight, Boise State versus Michigan State will be that hill for Boise State to climb up and overcome, continuing the PEC conference going forward. With that, we have a lot of interesting additions as well. I mean, we have a patch that came in last week that changed up the competitive roster with the maps. And although we didn't see any of those maps last week because we were still adjusting, we're going to be seeing a lot of new updates for the teams, and although we might not see all the maps, we might see some interesting changes with that. So what do you think going forward we might see from Boise State dealing with such an insurmountable challenge and the changes?
I think what we're going to see from Boise State is definitely like, if we do see the new maps, we're going to see some Harbor gameplay and maybe some Astra gameplay, because way back when Pearl was still in the rotation, it was used, Astra and Harbor were used a lot for the meta. And so I think we're going to be able to see Harbor finally played, as he doesn't really get much attention.
Yeah, Harbor is such an interesting character in Valorant. I mean, he is another good old controller. You know, we've seen a lot of them, and just on a lot of the maps that we've been playing, just hasn't been the right call. We've seen Astra a little bit throughout the PEC tournament, but yet to see Harbor, which is kind of sad because out of like a lot of the characters, his like theming with the sea and Poseidon and just like his ability with his walls, how they curve and can change, is just a really interesting mechanic, which also seems to be a favorite of Michigan State, as we've heard that they are kind of a fan of the wall combo of Vise and Harbor, especially on Abyss, which is infamous for its wall locations.
Yeah, Harbor's really dynamic with all these walls that you can do. And then on maps like Abyss and Pearl, there's a lot of instances where you want to plant and then go back main and spam the bomb, and being able to use Cove to prevent the enemies from spamming you while you defuse is really helpful.
Yeah, having any cover that you can get within walls, like just wall cover in general, has been super valuable. We've seen that with different characters like Neon, and you know, being able to use Fastlane to get in, and with that we were going to be able to see maybe just a new variety of that with Michigan State. Taking a look at the maps so far, we can see that this is going to be a bit of a mix-up for Boise State, as a favorite of ours, Sunset, is out and banned, so we're going to be seeing Haven, Ascent, and Bind. Little bit of a mix-up, not too much, with Ascent being a map we really haven't gotten to see a lot of yet.
Yeah, Ascent is it's kind of just a classic. This is like the Valorant map, so I feel like we already know what we're going to expect there, and I think the more interesting aspects is going to be how Bind and Haven are going to be played.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Haven gameplay throughout the PEC tournament. Personally, I've been enjoying whenever we get to see people go into B-site to just try and mix things up a little bit. And if you want to be able to mix up your own gameplay and get a little bit stronger in your Valorant ideas, then Doc's keys to the game are the way to go. And in Valorant, that is to make sure to chat your strats every round, stay off that copium, take out your one, and check your angles, please. We have seen throughout, time and time again, this conference, what can happen if you get a little sloppy on your angles or just get thrown off by the previous round. And so in Valorant, you got to stay calm, stay communicative, and always be watching those angles.
And I think another thing that isn't mentioned there is using the timeout. It's very important.
We've seen a lot of timeout usage previously in those matchups, and taking a quick look at our player roster, we can see all of the incredible players on Boise State's side, and some of the players that we'll be seeing tonight. We've got just a really powerful roster of players, and you know, for some of the things that we've been seeing with, you know, Skies and his operator, I'm sure he's very excited to see some of the maps in the lineup today, as our two duelists, Griff and Ian, very much love when they get the chance to do that. But something I like about the Boise State Valorant team too is that we'll see from the players is that more often than not they have their preference for character type, but that they will swap character just like archetypes depending on what we need to do. We've had Skies swap to, you know, go off of more of a duelist to sometimes swapping, well, to Skies as needed, and just whatever ends up being the best character. Boise State, pretty adaptable in that way.
Yeah, and we might see that swap to this character Sky on Bind, because that is a map where she's very important for just kind of controlling everywhere.
Yeah, being able to move around as much as possible, always helpful to have. I'm also, you know, seeing Haven on the list, we have seen some moments of Operator on that map, and although we weren't able to see it a ton because there was just some chaos going on back and forth with the economy last week, I would not be shocked if we saw both teams looking to get their eco set up as fast as possible. And now we're going to be hopping into the match, Boise State versus Michigan State, and take a little bit of a look at the roster. Though I can't say I'm surprised to see a breach coming out on Michigan State side at all. We've seen some pretty nasty blinds and concusses coming from him up.
Yeah, breach, especially on this map with how many just straight lines there are, you can really use that fault line to ensure a lot of good utility and trades and assists and whatnot.
Yeah, speaking of Astra, we're also going to be seeing some Astra in the game. That's going to be kind of like our, not as much of mirror matchups. We saw a couple mirror matchups there. I did notice that we also had a ISO coming out. We haven't seen ISO a ton. We did see him last week. Just, he's been a little bit more helpful to have around, and I'm excited to see his ultimate come out because, well, the kill contract is such a cool ability. And I've seen some funny things with that lately where a Sova ult actually went through it. So he activated it and it actually shot through as the kill contract was activating. And honestly, I'm curious if that was a bug or intentional, but either way, thoroughly amusing to see the ultimates kind of interact together. And we'll see a lot of that going into this match with Boise State starting on the defense and Michigan State starting on offense here.
And we're not really sure as to what site we're going to see Michigan State pushing. It looks maybe that they're going to look for some information before they make their decision.
Yeah, leaning towards A, but not immediately making a preference. Sova just kind of hanging out with the spike. Something I do think is interesting, Michigan State being on attack, they do have Cypher in, which it's not that he's bad on attack, but that he most certainly is better on defense. So we'll have to see how Michigan State handles that as they're getting set up here. The round, as you know, the first couple rounds really do set the tone for the map. If you're able to get the advantage on your side, even a side that you're maybe not fully the strongest on, that can be really good for you going forward.
Yeah, this pistol round is kind of 2 rounds because the following round, if you win the pistol, you're almost guaranteed to win the next one.
I mean, you force the players on the opposing team into a lockdown where they have to just deal with it, and they can't do anything but save, right? You have no option but to save, because if you don't save, then you're most likely going to lose, and then you're going to lose more of your eco, and eco is a true, like, destroyer in Valorant. There are not many shooters where that is a important thing, but in Valorant it is, and we're going to get jumped right into the action. Both teams immediately having players kind of encounter each other with Sova gathering information on both sides. On A side, already the firefight's going out. Boise State losing 2 people to Michigan State losing just their Omen. A site getting cleared out now. Boise State backing off a bit. What's going on? Cypher out. Ray Rihanna just barely hanging on after that encounter. Now 2-2 here with, wow, just some really quick interactions between the teams. They're now both trying to figure out what the next play is.
Seems like Michigan State maybe is waiting for some of their utility to come back before they're able to execute the site once more. But they are going to start scaling up C main. Soap Dart coming out. Michigan State is going to be able to take control of the site that was kind of just open.
Although Boise State is aware of where they are, they're going to let the plant go through here. Michigan State now looking for their defense to begin. Sky's sneaking around here with the sheriff.
Last player standing.
And gets the breach. Tries to go for the Sova, gets taken out, and the attackers are able to take this one as all of Boise State's players are done and out.
Very good high-low there from Michigan State, being able to pretty much just ensure that the 1v2 was won. And now we're going to see what we were talking about earlier with just how once you lose the round, you're kind of forced into saving, and the opposing team will be able to buy rifles.
You know, something interesting that we also saw in that round that we don't often get to see is, although Deadlock has a lot of really good abilities, one that doesn't get used a lot is the sonic sensor, and I'm excited that we got to see that a little bit, but we're already looking to have another quick interaction between the two teams. Skelesis and Skies peeking out here to see where the players might be. Couple shots going off as Ice Bear peeks up and gets taken out by Master. Boise State holding down A site here, with both teams kind of peeking up very far into the hallway here. A site down, Skies is out, taken out by the Jet on Michigan State side. Now both teams down a player, kind of saying similar things to before. Firefight in the middle between Ray Rihanna and Cypher. Now going to immediately peek, avoiding getting taken out by the Cypher here. He's there. Master trying to give some cover. As Michigan State starts to peek through onto A site, we see Sova hiding right around the corner here. Might get both players. Careful, takes out the breach and takes out the Sova. And Boise State has the spike. My goodness.
Skelsis was unable to get one more there.
30 seconds
is
left.
getting a good trade, but the spike is recovered. Ray Rihanna and Astra rotating back over to A site.
Player
Not able to
standing.
catch them until Ray Rihanna is out. Now up to Prestige, but Prestige is not able to get the 2v1 here. Michigan State is going to get the plant.
And even though it says that Boise State just lost that round, economically speaking, they took out 2 rifles from Michigan State there. So now Michigan State has this really awkward bye. And so it's almost kind of a win in Boise State's way. Like, because they're going to have kind of a free round here, fighting only 2 rifles instead of 4.
Yeah, and we can see that too, like with how Michigan State is having to play. They are going on light shields as well, which giving Boise State a little bit more room to work with going into this next round. As we see once again, Michigan State pushing pretty far up into both the C garage area. Watching takes out the Cypher. Quick and easy here. Boise State getting the upper hand player-wise. They're gonna lock down that garage with the barrier mesh. Just not really want to mess with it. As Boise State, once again, checking those sight lines on A site. We see Michigan State really enjoying that hallway leading up to A site. Oh, Skellis moving away right before they peek. He's gonna back up. Get the spot. Ooh, Skellis is almost taken out there. Throws out Shock Dart. Trying to keep some space on. Boise State activating smokes onto A site here.
And that ping does find 1. So Boise State's still concerned about this A push that Michigan State's been so privy to pressuring.
Knowing that, Boise State doesn't want to give it up immediately, but Michigan State is going to do a rotate over to C site with that. Their Omen a little bit farther up in garage, smoking off the area.
30
checking
seconds
the
left.
additional sight lines here, as they're going to push in to C site here. Prestige on their own, got hit by the paranoia from Omen. Checks the garage, sees the jet, is able to take them out. Now hanging on as their teammates join them. The plant is going to begin, but Michigan State's not safe yet. Rihanna watching the sideline.
10 seconds left.
Breach. Logical
Spike planted.
Prestige. Now
1
it's
enemy
Rihanna on the
remaining.
site alone, but Skies comes in to help with all of the teammates of Boise State able to take the defuse down here and secure their first point.
That was a very clean round. Not very many deaths. It was nearly flawless there.
Now with just 1 player on site getting taken out, that's a pretty good spot for Boise State to be in, and we can see the Eco getting a little bit more comfortable on their side now that they were able to secure a win and give Michigan State 1 awkward round. Going to even up a little bit, which, you know, always a nice change of pace for players. We've seen a lot of matches where they've been kind of stuck in the drought until they can manage to eke out a couple wins due to either ults or just some really good timings of gameplay. And so getting to see a little bit more fair fight before potential overtime is never a bad thing. 1-2, staying pretty close as we go into the next round here. Boise State getting a little bit wiser to how Michigan State wants to play, and we can see Michigan State wanting to mix it up a little bit, but they do have breach ult, so that'll be interesting to see in play if they decide to use it.
Yeah, if they're able to scale up mid, the breach ult's going to be almost a free site take here. And it looks like that's Michigan State's strategy right now.
Michigan State moving up towards garage. Boise State not made contact yet, not aware of where they are. I'm gonna throw out a smoke. As their Owl drone goes out, we see Masters sneaking up with Sova, wanting to spot any potential players. checks the angle, but does not see him, and Skellis is taken out. ISO not checking the other angle is also taken out, so Boise State is down to down two players. As Michigan State, realizing that A site is open, is going to rotate around and begin the plant.
And now we're going to see if Rihanna's privy to...
Spike planted.
Unfortunately, Omen is able to take out Rihanna, taking another player down for Boise State. He's at 2-5 here. Boise State getting a couple shots off, trying to gain some information, recognizing that they're not going to be able to take this, going to move back and conserve what they have resources-wise.
Yeah, always a wise idea to make sure you just have the gun for next round.
Yeah, especially a 2v5 retake on site is not really going to go in your favor, and so anytime you can conserve your winnings from previous matches, you want to be able to do that. And we can see right now that neither team really wants to risk it, and so all of them are going to attempt to save as Michigan State is going to take the round due to spike detonation.
And now moving into our 5th round, it's still going to be rifles from both sides, but maybe we're going to see less of like a push-up from Boise State, because that timing with the Cypher and the crossfire there was kind of just not the best.
Yeah, Michigan State has really enjoyed a bit more bravado with their plays, and Boise State, trying to follow suit similarly, hasn't been able to gain the same success. I mean, when your defense, it can be a boon to push up and just like deny them to get to site, but sometimes getting just being able to lock down and get those angles is good. Especially if you were in a situation right there in garage, you might have been taken out immediately. Boise State push up into sewer, and ISO gets a trade taken out. It's now 1-1 here with Michigan State at 1. Boise State down 1 as well.
Spike down A.
Boise State down 2 players, Michigan State down 3. Boise State gaining the numbers advantage, rotating over to A side. The spike is down. Michigan State has left it near the back here.
One enemy
Omen
remaining.
tries to peek through the smoke, but Skellis is able to take him out. Now down to 1 player. Michigan State kind of boxed in here with Astra peeking around the side. Sees them, takes off some shots, isn't able to connect just yet, gets taken out, and now there is 1 player left for Michigan State. Grabbing the spike, he's going to rotate over to the other side.
Sensor tripped.
A lot of chess was being played there with trying to figure out just who exactly was posting on the site, and now we're going to see Deadlock will come out, able to just pick up that
30
last pick on
seconds
Michigan
left.
State before they're even able to get the bomb down. And that's to close out the round just completely, with Rihanna being able to just secure that kill without even having to shoot. I think there was definitely a lot of strategy going on there with the A side push, because instead of having 2 people there, they had 3, and so when Michigan State got the early pick, they thought they had a free site to push, but in fact it was already fortified, and they were able to just Boise State was able to just hold down the site and ensure.
Yeah, gaining the numbers advantage in Valorant is a big deal, because that's more sight lines that you can cover, more angles, and just more room to defend, and Boise State was able to use that really effectively in the last round. Going into it, though, we see Michigan State is going to pop Jet's ult right off the bat. Now the Spartans have kind of the push power they need here. Boise State wanting to be very careful. It's going to activate their Jet ult in return, kind of create a standoff here on the B site. Skellis is gaining more information for the Broncos here. Peek sees the Jet. No, it's not get hit yet, but any peek could be deadly. Rihanna is out, but Prestige is able to avenge them, taking out the Jet before they can do any more damage. Plant is down on B site, however, and Boise State is going to have to look for how they can get this retake.
With just 1 star left,
Covering it.
Astra's going to have. Never mind. It's going to be a lot tougher trying to push in now without a smoke.
Does have the potential here. Now 2-2. Boise State is on site, beginning the defuse. The Sky is still having their ult. They are going to get taken out by a surprise rotate from Ice Bear, and now Boise State is not able to take the round, although they were able to get onto site and get the defuse. So it is just kind of that mix-ups that we're seeing from both sides about where they're going to appear and when they're appearing that's causing the most pain points.
And now with our eco round from Boise State coming in, we might see a bit of a switch up in the strategy, maybe pushing something out, trying a little bit more of a risky play, considering that they're already at a disadvantage. So you kind of just got to go in for that gambly play.
Yeah,
And it looks like a mid push is going to come out.
4-2 here. Masters, Skies, and Prestige all moving up through the middle to see if they can catch Michigan State off their guard. Michigan State, however, is moving up to A site, which is completely open. Go to head to smoke. Sova is on site. He can see that they're there, and the plant is beginning. Going to go ahead and throw out a shock dart to see if he can spot anyone. But with Boise State off site, Michigan State is able to get a quick plant off.
A is already pretty good take, so.
I know exactly where you are.
Revealing area. Michigan State gaining some information, are able to take out Rihanna. Now Master. Skelesis is also out. With that, Boise State is down to their last member. It's another just 1v5, and for Boise State, they aren't able to back away in time, and Michigan State is able to get the flawless win here.
But now Boise State has the operator coming out, which, considering how much Michigan State likes pushing long, it's going to be able to really control that A long angle or the C long angle, depending on where they place it, and really just ensure that, you know, Michigan State won't be able to be so reckless with how they push. They're going to have to really use a lot of utility, and then they're going to have more trouble pushing into the actual site.
Yeah, especially an operator. Just the first time it comes out in such a quick shot. And in addition to that, Boise State going to add on some pressure, try and get some early picks with Hunter's Fury. Not able to capitalize on as much as we want. We're going to get a couple off potentials here. Stage is able to take out Frog. Jet is down for Michigan State. The Spartans have lost a player. They're going to try and even it up, but Boise State is going to fire back. Rolling Thunder goes out, but it isn't able to do anything for the Spartans here, as now Michigan State is down to 2 players. Boise State down to 2 as well. The standoff on site begins. Rihanna is taken out, and so is Masters, and Michigan State is able to win on eliminations.
That was quite quick there with the way everything ended all at once, and I think it was definitely unfortunate for Boise State, considering that they were only able to get the Rolling Thunder out and not Hunter's Fury or maybe Omen teleportation as well. And now that they're once again on eco, it's just gonna. This is kind of the momentum of the economy, and it's going to be really tough for them to recover now that they're down so much.
Yeah, Boise State wanting to be able to save a little bit is going to have to go down the lower shields and face the rifles at a severe disadvantage, which we see immediately come out as Skies is taken out by Ice Bear just at the edge of Garage. Boise State not wanting to encounter immediately, trying to back off except for Rihanna, who's looking for that potential angle, but doesn't want to move up too fast as there is a Cypher Tripwire waiting. The Spartans moving down the hallway here through the tripwire. Do not see Rihanna. Rihanna being careful. Takes out 2 players and the spike. Now going to use barrier mesh here to lock down the area. And with that, Boise State has been able to take the spike and hold it down. But Rihanna better be careful because there's players approaching from both sides here. Cypher pops out and is able to take out Rihanna, and the spike is captured again. But Boise State is able to take out some valuable resources for the Spartans.
And now Boise State has pretty much information where the entire team of Michigan State is going to be, considering they knew where the spike just was. Try and locate them. A firefight does break out at the bottom.
30
of the
seconds
pit.
left.
ahead.
Michigan State.
Last player standing.
And Skelesis all taken out in the hallway. Michigan State able to get the plant. And with that, a timeout is going to go through, giving Boise State some time to just kind of think it out and take a breather after the just a lot of the kind of chaos of all of those matches there. Something that we haven't seen a lot is just how Michigan State has been choosing to take their fights. They haven't really been like slow and steady wins the race, which we've seen a lot of teams' attempts against Boise State, and it's been kind of a rough time for them going so far.
Yeah, this kind of just breach stun, this angle, everybody run in strategy is working for them, so they might as well just keep it up. And Boise State does have a couple of ultimates that could maybe stop this coming in, and I think the timeout will probably incorporate some of those into a strategy.
Yeah. I am concerned about the continual push up on the defense side, though. Although the Broncos are really good when they can get into a firefight, we've just been getting constantly caught off guard here. And with the way that Michigan State has been playing and just the general performance of their players, I mean, from what we've heard, a lot of them have like peaked radiant, have some solid, tools under their tool belt. This is a team that kind of flying solo, which we've seen a couple players, has not really been benefiting the Broncos.
Yeah, maybe some more patience, because especially on Haven, once one person's down, since there's 5 sight lines you need to be holding at all times, it becomes
really
very
hard.
difficult on defense.
Yeah, and with 3 sites compared to the normal 2, it's just resources that defense doesn't really get the option to manage as easily. And we can see once again Michigan State going in with those fast pushes straight into garage. They are going to smoke off the back line here. Prestige is caught in the stun here. Activates some clouds to give themselves some cover. Ray Rihanna gets hit by the Paranoid, and Prestige is taken out. Ray Rihanna is able to avoid this jet, but isn't able to avoid Ice Bear. And now Boise State is down 2 players as the plant begins on C-side.
Very difficult for Boise State to do this. They're going to be looking kind of just for individual picks.
Last player
Guys go
standing.
in with a tailwind, and Mastix is taken out right behind. The duelists are down, and Sova is the last player standing here. Skelesis looking for some potential opportunity, isn't able to get it as the Cypher pops out from garage, and another flawless for Michigan State and the Spartans.
A thing I've noticed a lot from Michigan State is once they've gotten onto C, they go onto that wood pile and hold the high-low. So maybe Skelesis or someone could use utility to push them off of it or expose them and get an easy pick. Just something in the air, but that's kind of the issue when you're playing with a team comp that doesn't have a flash. Taking sites becomes extremely difficult.
Yeah, not having access to the flash is definitely Boise State's kind of just one of their big challenges that they have to overcome every retake. When you can't give yourself that extra advantage of locking down a location, it can be hard, but Masters is going to jump right in and try and go for a kill contract, but he isn't able to take out a logical. Fortunately for Boise State, that's player down at the beginning again, and we can see Michigan State looking to switch it up a little bit and move on to the A side here.
And as Michigan State creeps up long, it seems like they're about to scatter. Omen teleports into tower, and he does end up canceling it.
Skelesis watching here as Michigan begins their push. Skies and Skelesis are able to get some trades, but Skies is taken out. Michigan State down 1 player to Boise State's 3. Popping out of the smoke, is taken out, and with the sightlines down, Michigan State takes up the rest of Boise State's players, and it's now 9-2.
Last round in the half.
I think once again these are risky angles that Boise State is playing that often reap a high benefit just haven't been paying out, and maybe it'd be better if they just played safer and didn't have to play at that man advantage every round.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that'll go going forward as we get a quick little break in between these rounds. One thing I have seen that I have been enjoying, though, is although it is good to kind of back off sometimes, seeing these early firefights has been kind of a big change of pace from a lot of the matchups. Something that although it can be dangerous, is also at the same time beneficial trying to get those early picks. It's just hoping that the trade is going to be worthwhile in the end. And I have been really enjoying when players have been sneaking around and able to get those couple kills. Something that, we talked about, check your angles, right? So many times have we seen players just kind of sit in the hidey hole and successfully take out a couple players, and that's been great momentum changes in this, even just the first 11 rounds that we've seen so far.
Yeah, those trigger to Simon plays are really, you can just kind of convert having a 0-cost weapon into a 3,000 weapon and get 2 kills at the same time, because sometimes people just don't check the angle. And I think another thing that we're seeing is the firefights down long where they're just fighting each other. And the reason why Boise State is losing those is probably because they don't have the typical breach stun to prevent people from pushing in all at once. It's just they're lacking some of the utility you see in a regular Haven comp.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a different comp from Boise State on this map. I mean, a lot of times we would see a breach mirror match on this map just due to the fact that getting the concuss and the blind is just very valuable to have for creating that space. And we are seeing some good space creation from like the deadlock, which I'm glad to see. If anything, it's been really fun to see the deadlock get a little bit more love with both the sonic sensor and the barrier mesh, but it just like those are stalls that only last so long is the main thing. They like sometimes they work out really well. I have seen the barrier mesh lock a player into a corner, which was just easy pickings. Rest in peace that Gecko. He couldn't do anything but sit there in horror as he was able to be taken out fairly easily, but in general they're great for those like quick moments of forcing the team to change their decisions, but they don't do much beyond that unless the team decides to commit to that area.
Yeah, a lot of Deadlock's utility also comes in on attack, where like the GravNet, if you're able to combo it with like a teammate's Molotov, it becomes extremely useful because it's pretty much just a free kill. But I don't think Boise State's team has a Molotov, which kind of makes it a bit of a pick you wouldn't want as much, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I always enjoy those like different playstyles of characters. They're just really interesting to me. Like, that's why I think Harbor is also a really interesting character, and we mentioned that he is a character that is liked by the Spartans as well as, you know, Vice. We haven't seen a ton of her, but, you know, she is one that they enjoy sometimes on the different maps. But I think it's interesting too, something that we haven't talked about yet is the Omen on the Spartan side. He has been pretty good on his sightlines and kind of a menace around, and so something that I've been watching every time is when we watch that map, just wherever he's roaming, it's a very dangerous spot to be. And Boise State, every time they've been able to lock him down, it's been great for their momentum. So we'll have to see going forward what players they're able to take out and what information we're going to gather as we go right back into a long here. Michigan State moving up. Skies is able to gain the advantage and take out the Cypher fairly quickly in the middle area, as Michigan State is going to try and move directly onto A site. Jet activating Blade Storm here. Boise State looking for their opportunity to deny them the plant if possible.
It seems like Boise State might just want to group up this 5 before they retake the site and ensure that they keep this man advantage as they retake.
Yeah, the Broncos going
Spike
for the
planted.
retake. Having to be careful of Jet right there. ISO and all the util going out. Skelesis Masters and Skies are down. Red following suit. Although the deadlock ult did go out, Boise State was not able to capitalize on it fully. And Michigan State, although
Switching
they lost,
sides.
they did end up losing 3 players, were able to take the round before the swap here. And now we have swapped sides.
And with the side swap, the economy gets reset, the old economy gets reset as well, and all the momentum is kind of even. So this is really Boise State's chance to win the pistol, win the bonus, and then bring things back if there was ever a chance.
Yeah, the Broncos are a little bit on the back foot here, 2-10 with an 8-round difference is not the best place to be. But with this round swap, they might be able to gain a little bit more momentum. As we mentioned, everything is reset, ultimates, guns, eco, and now it's their chance to kind of capitalize on that with especially a team that is definitely meant a little bit more for that jumping into the site. Not as much defense here, except for really the deadlock. We'll have to see if they gain some momentum as they jump right into C. Masters and Skies moving in as both players are in. Now able to take out 2 players on the Spartan side and begin the plant. And this, I think, is what we are missing here for Boise State. Is it's kind of what they've been wanting to do this entire time. Moving back into the long, like C long here. And with the plant, now Michigan State isn't able to do much yet.
And even if they go for the defuse, Michigan State still has to deal with the Astropole, which is going to be able to keep them off of the bomb for another 4 seconds.
Now we see Boise State hanging out here. Tries to go for
enemy
isn't
remaining.
able to get it off. Try to get the defuse, and Boise State able to take the round here. Kind of what I was talking about right before this all started to happen. This is kind of what Boise State wanted. They really didn't want to be on the defense here. They definitely wanted to be on attack with this comp. And taking a similar strategy to Michigan, they pushed up as fast as they possibly could, cleared the site and just began that plant, and were able to capitalize on the fact that Michigan State really didn't have the numbers advantage in that round.
And it really shocked Michigan State there. They didn't expect Get and Master to just be completely on top of them, but that just was the case. And now we're going to see kind of just the standard eco round here, where Boise State's likely to win. They're executing the suicide.
Scanning ahead.
See the cover being brought up by ISO. They begin to move in, but the Cypher is going to take out Stealth. Cypher is able to capitalize on it. However, the Broncos are able to gain the advantage, taking out 2 players here and start the plant.
And with that bomb down and the Astra Star ready to be up hole, it's kind of difficult for Michigan State to bring this one back.
Going over the rotate, we see the blade here.
One enemy remaining.
Some crazy
Last
sheriff
player
shots
standing.
from Sova here, but Boise State shuts it down. Now it's Ray Rihanna versus Jet here. Deadlock versus Frog. Ray Rihanna gains some information, knows where Jet is, knows that you have to hold on and keep them off the plant for as long as possible. Potentially take them out if they can. If your teams go through, peek and take out the opposing player. Boise State now gaining some momentum with 2 rounds in a row at the start of swap.
Bit of a tough round eco-wise, but now going into this 3rd round, even though Boise State is, you would expect them to lose in a typical game, they kind of need to win this one to bring things closer to even.
Is that an Odin I see coming out?
There could be some spam going on through the garage door.
We did see Michigan State look at that earlier, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do it on the other side. And
Revealing
how
area.
we're currently set up, that could be very dangerous for Boise State, but they are able to avoid it, gain some information here as Ice Bear backs off away from garage here. So kind of holding down the point, back off. He's gained the information he wanted to gain, but does he see the Cypher, who's going to peek around the corner? Not quite, as they're both just barely out of each other's sight lines. Boise State not immediately moving up through the middle here, shaking up the strategy that worked for 2 rounds to play a little bit more slowly. So Michigan State isn't fully sure where Boise State might be, thinking they might go through the middle. They're going to drop a smoke here. Ice Bear really wanting to hold down the line here with this Odin, and this poor Cypher does not realize what is about to show up as they move in, taking out the Cypher here. Master's getting some attacks off. Ice Bear does take out Ray Rihanna, but he is now down. Odin's down for them as well, and that's a pretty large weapon to lose for Michigan State eco-wise, as now it's 4-3 on the player count.
Back to their angle where they can spam the bomb, and State also doesn't have their smoke alive again, so they can't smoke off the bomb to defuse it. So it's kind of just a really rough situation to be in for Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State beginning to move into the site. Going to throw out a breach concussive here and a blind if possible, trying to force Boise State to not be able to react to them, but they aren't able to get it, and they realize that, so now everyone's going to move off. Illogical able to take Prestige out at the last moment. And with that, Boise State takes another win, and Illogical is taken out by the bomb.
That was exactly what Boise State needed there. Was the underdog round basically.
They've been pretty comfortable on the seaside, getting a nice plant that's allowed them to gain some momentum that looks like most likely Michigan State here is wanting to kind of cut off for a bit. I mean, they were able to take what was an 8-round gap, and it's now 5-10. So they're slowly closing in on kind of taking what seemed like a impossible, like, right before match point easy win for MSU, and kind of denying that right now.
Yeah, and now that they won that anti-eco round, they're now going to, you know, they have rifles and Michigan State doesn't, so it's going to be probably another round favoring Boise State, and then we're going to see rifle rounds again equalize. So this is probably going to be a 6-10 situation.
Yeah, although Michigan has been very confident when they push up on attack, they have not really been able to handle it very much when it's coming at them from the other team. And with that, Boise State has been able to revel in quite a bit and just get straight into the C site, and now we have to see if that will continue to work for Boise State or if they're going to mix it up as we jump into this next match. But it looks like they might be considering an A side push this time around, which might catch Michigan State off a little bit here, as they're definitely watching that C-long hallway there, as it's burned them too many times now. They really don't want to let that through. Recon Bolt is destroyed, and now they know that. They have brought out the Omen once again to check sewers. But Boise State is avoiding that. Going to go up C-long instead. Smokes are out on both sides. Boise State moves in. Out, but Mono's and Illogical are not able to do anything about it. Master and Ray Rihanna take out multiple players on Michigan State's side and begin the plant, proving that they can just as quickly clear A side as they can C side.
And I believe the last two players have
One enemy remaining.
Side, so it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, speaking of one of those last players, taken out immediately by Prestige and leaving good old Cypher here with his Bucky as his only companion in this fight if he so chooses to take it. Looks like he's really just trying to get any potential peeks that go through that hallway, and he's about to have an unfortunate surprise attack from Prestige as Boise State's able to get a flawless and kind of even it up from the previous flawlesses that Michigan MSU was able to take.
And now we're going into the 17th round of the match. Boise State does have the advantage ultimate-wise, but economy-wise, it's both rifles from either team. And we're gonna really see what does Boise State do, because they've been changing up the pace. It's, oh, we're gonna rush C. Oh, we're gonna rush A. Nope, we're gonna slow everything down. And so it's kind of difficult if you're Michigan State to figure out what exactly is gonna happen.
Yeah, when anytime you are not seeing a consistent strategy from the opposing team, it puts defense on the back foot. Once again, Boise State going over to C site, taking out a player in the process. All of the util is out. Firefight, Omen teleports in, but is taken out.
One enemy
But gets
remaining.
Ray Rihanna. Skelesis takes out Pimplefin
C.
Illogical, and Boise State comes out of the firefight with the plant and one player left. All on his lonesome. He's able to take out the skies, and now Sova reassessing, knowing there's two players out there. He's looking to try and find one so he doesn't get caught off guard, but what little does he know, Astra is right behind him. Fury are not so bad to have, but we're going to see Astra's ultimate right off the bat, and you'll never guess where Boise State is going. And it looks like they are going to be tricking him this time around. If you guessed C, you'd be guessing wrong. Boise State rotating towards A here, looking for some potential picks. Masters is taken out by Frog here. Ray Rihanna moving onto site, beginning the plant. Michigan State trying to generate where they're going. Hunter's Fury down to 2 players. Boise State also down to 2. And with down to 2 players, Boise State also down to 2. And without enough time to defuse the bomb, they're all going to get taken out by the spike, with Boise State having one player just kind of hanging out.
That was a very nice reset of the economy there, with everybody that was trying to save losing their weapons. So now the momentum is going to stay in Boise State's favor. And they used probably the best ult, Michigan State, with the Hunter's Fury. And so now they're not going to be able to really deny a plant in the case of like another fake if Boise State chooses to do so.
Yeah, now only a 2-round difference between these teams. Boise
Get out of
State
my
has
way!
been on a rampage of win after win that Michigan has been.
Here, as you'll notice they're not going to be able to buy next round. So keeping these 2 rifles is kind of all they have at a chance of keeping the game from going even the next round.
Boise State taking a look here. We see Ray Rihanna coming up through the hallway, maybe looking for some potential picks. Spike is going to detonate, however, and Boise State is able to take the win, 9-10. Not before Moonroad takes out Ray Rihanna at the last second there. Jumping off of that spot is both as, good for surprises as it can be for just getting taken out before you can get your sight line on anyone else.
Yeah, it definitely does put you at a bit of a disadvantage sometimes, especially when you're not careful on how you jump out and you make a little bit of too. And so now we're going to see kind of just like a slow-paced push and creep up of mid from Boise State as they just really look for a pick before they go into any of the sites. But information really isn't given.
Not enough information for that. Move straight into kind of a double tap zone there with both Astra and Jet on that sight line. Not a lot he can do as the game is completely tied up once again.
And because Michigan State was trying to avoid this tie, they kind of did something that was a little unwise of opting for 3 rifles. And now on this round, they get none when they get that tie. So that was a bit of a funky idea. But I can see the merit in it, and now it seems like Boise State's going to have kind of a free round here.
That's definitely not a free round that Michigan State wants. Mesh, that side is open up for the Spartans to try and move in. Boise State has off the sight line. They can watch the sight lines. Going for some blinds.
No surprises.
Have detected a target on the sensor. They know where they are. Boise State. Zim and Sewers breaches down.
One enemy
Boise
remaining.
State taking out 2 more players, taking out a 3rd player. With that, Boise State is bringing the match up to 11-10.
That was well played by Boise State once more, how they keep doing this thing where they fall off from the site, and Michigan State wants to clear every angle, and they use all of the utility like on the site before they even get to Boise State. And so by the time they finally reach Boise State, they're at a disadvantage where they have nothing to really clear them out, and then it's Boise State with full utility versus Michigan State with nothing. And they keep falling victim to it, and I wonder if they're going to soon realize the pattern here.
It's been serving Boise State very well.
No
As the
distraction.
kill contract's going to go out immediately on Boise State's side. Going to get the Jet in the spot. Tries to take him out. Is successful. Master is able to bring down a player. Sky is
Contract.
also taking out a player as well. Boise State starting off really strong here in this match, but not going to push A site immediately.
I think they might have realized that a rotate would happen by now.
And unfortunately, they're going to get hurt by that a little bit as Skies is taken out by Ice Bear. Boise State deciding it's not really worth it right now to push that site. Going to go for a rotate, but Michigan is on top of it, also rotating, recognizing that this is Boise State, at this point, their comfort pick with this matchup here. Rihanna going for orb. Site clearing all the angles, looks around, just barely sees the Cypher. Rihanna locks down the site with barrier mesh. Rolling Thunder is going to go out, but Skeletsis fires back with Hunter's Fury, taking out 2 players. With that, now the Spartans are down to 1 player, Reed all on his lonesome as the plant begins.
I mean, just what a Hunter's Fury there. Getting 2 with it is kind of crazy. And now the logical connect to take the site. Rihanna is able to find the angle behind him.
Yeah, now Boise State is able to gain match point, something that
Match
the
point.
Spartans were not expecting to go through this time around. Is with that 8-round lead, I think anyone would be shocked when they have a rout so soundly occur right afterwards.
It's definitely going to be difficult for Michigan State too, because they're not exactly on a buy round here, and they only have 2 ultimates to really leverage the round into their favor. So we're going to see just exactly if they're able to hold, or if Boise State's able to just once again push in and then leave.
Boise State moving up through C-Long once again. Michigan State put all their tripwires up, knowing that that is a Boise State Sky. Boise State taking out 2 players, Skeletsis and Masters, knocking out Cypher and Illogical. Annihilation goes out as well with the Omen getting trapped. Ray Rihanna is able to get another player out. And with that, a plant goes down, and Michigan State, before they can really take a breath, is down to 2 players, and their sightlines are locked up, so Robbie is going to try and jump in, takes down the Ray Rihanna, moving over the barrier mesh, tries to just kind of catch him off guard with a fake defuse here, but Boise State holds the line here. Takes out the Jet and quickly moves off the site, does not want to get immediately taken out, but does he see the Astra, who is once again been lurking and sneaking up, and they do not, as Prestige is able to take out the player and take the round and the match.
What a comeback there. I mean, from 2 to 10 to 13 to 10? Like,
They essentially, since we started the attack side, Boise State won every single round despite a timeout as well going through. And with that, has kind of set a precedence here for the Spartans that although they might be the top-seeded team in this matchup, they are going to be the first team to make them lose a map. And that is actually kind of incredible to think about through this season.
Yeah, it's kind of huge because the amount of consistency to just win 5 games in a row, 2-0, is crazy. And so the fact that they're able to just Boise State can just take that away, playing a flawless attack pretty much.
Yeah, if anything,
really
I think that's probably what they were planning on. I mean, looking at the team comp, what they were kind of doing, it makes sense that they were just biding their time, waiting for that. And although, you know, 10 rounds is a pretty scary thing to look at, Boise State really didn't let that get to them and ultimately were able to take the first map and put themselves in a very comfortable position going forward against the Spartans. But while we're waiting for that, we might throw to a break real quick as we're preparing for the next matchup. Yeah, as we get ready for a break, I'm excited to see where these two teams go since overall it's been kind of a crazy back and forth at first during the first rounds, but both teams have kind of run away with their matchups and their wins. So as we're getting ready for this next match to see if Boise State will be able to take the next map or if Michigan State as the Spartans will be able to route it, we're going to take a quick break.
No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You've got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket. Dave, it's your Idaho Central app. I know this car got you through college, but check this out. In my credit, your credit score looks good. And there's a great rate on this auto loan so we can score a roomier ride. Whoa, who's driving this thing? The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Life happens. Lucky for you, ICCU has a new kind of checking account that comes with benefits that help you life better. Because being human is a full-time job. Life happens. Lucky for you, the new ICCU Central Plus checking account comes with benefits, including cell phone protection.
Wait, through my ICCU checking account?
That's right. Along with a whole lot of other benefits you might need. Because being human is a full-time job.
All right, welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena as we continue our coverage of the Spartans versus the Broncos, Week 6 of the Power Esports Conference. Now, during our first match, we talked about how one of the big things this week is the fact that Michigan State has yet to lose a map. And during our last match, we just saw Boise State completely flip the script and take the very first map of this round, dethroning them from being able to keep that kind of 2-0 record for every single match going forward. Now, with that, we did see Boise State kind of choose to really push onto that kind of bet everything on attack. It was 2-10 when we started, and they were able to completely wipe the floor with Michigan State after that by never winning a round afterwards. But that's not always something that you're able to really overcome and continue into the next match. So I'll be curious to see and wonder what we might see from them going forward onto the next map, where they might not be able to push as quickly through those longs and get just, as many rounds as they did in a row. That is not something you ever want to bet on.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing to see a team kind of just gamble everything on attack, right? And so going into Ascent, we could see a similar thing, because if it isn't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah, if it was working, why not stop? But something that'll be interesting to see with that is the fact that looking at the general win to loss ratios on maps, who's comfortable on this, the Spartans have a little bit more of a comfort zone with this map. They have won 2 times on this map versus Boise State has really only gone on to Ascent a couple times. And so is that not a map we've done as much gameplay on for the Power Esports Conference? So although, we were concerned about Boise State having some issues in the previous matchup, we might see if this will be kind of the lockup point where we'll see if the Spartans' kind of home turf comfort zone might be what ends up winning them the round. Though, Abyss is their preferred map, but this one they have more experience on than us, at least in this conference. So curious to see how that goes for us.
It's definitely going to be interesting seeing how maybe they play a different type of strategy on Ascent, because it's often like a similar, it's almost always a mirror match on Ascent, I feel like. And so it's going to be kind of intriguing.
Yeah, in addition to that, something that we might see on this matchup from just what Michigan is comfortable with is the fact that they really like KO on this match. On this map, they like KO, and that we've really yet to see a lot of KO gameplay. And we were talking about having those disadvantages and advantages with the blinds and the concussives not really being something Boise State had a ton of. Now we get to add in that element, potentially, of just not having access to your abilities. Everyone's favorite mechanic in any game, you wanted to play the game today? No.
Yeah, that's a good KO knife can just completely shut down anything, right? You're 5-man pushing in, you have the information, you know that it's just KO on site, and then he knifes you. And then it's well, okay, my bad.
And now he's like, hey, buddy, would you like a blind with that knife as well, as you now can't see anything, can't do anything except, shoot your gun, which is, a lot of what you're going to be doing, but you don't have access to any util. So if you're a Jet who is ready to just jump out, you're denied. And now they gain a lot of control of the match, as well as it's also an informational thing. When I played Valorant a lot with my friends, I had a friend who specifically played KO. And not only was it really good for nullifying, but it's a great way to just stall people and know immediately where people are. It's not the main purpose, but it's kind of it can be good, just like Sova's darts are for recon. And so it's kind of it's a knife, but it kind of feels more like a multi-purpose tool sometimes. It's got everything you want in one. Jumping into the matchup, seeing what we will be picking on both sides. We don't see the KO just yet, but we do see a Killjoy, and there goes the KO showing up as well. Killjoy will be another interesting mix-up for our PEC conference, as we haven't seen a ton of her, but she is a very great character for just taking control of the area and shutting people down.
And one thing to note with Boise State's comp is they're once again not running a flashbang that, Omen does have the paranoia, but it's not exactly a flash in the sense of it helps you, take someone off of an angle when they're opping or something. So it's going to be interesting to see how Boise State approaches this and is able to really overcome that hurdle.
Boise State willingly not picking the flash up again. Kind of an interesting trend, not something that we've seen a lot throughout our comps so far. I am excited to see a little bit of switch up. Something I did notice also in the lineup is that they decided to bring Cypher in, so we might not be seeing them bank on attack as much as they were previously, trying to go a little bit stronger into the defense game early on and not let the Michigan State run away with it as much.
Yeah, that double sentinel setup that they have of the deadlock and the Cypher,
that's going to be nasty.
It's going to be absolutely filthy trying to push into that.
You just have one on each site where they can gain information and just kind of lock things down, and that'll be a really rough spot for Michigan State when they're on attack, but we won't be seeing that just yet, as Boise State is going to be the one starting on the attack side this time around. Going to start where we kind of see their comfort more often than not. As we jump into the match, we see Michigan State kind of hanging out in the middle immediately, trying to see if Boise State can pop out, and which they do, and we see some trades
Spike down
immediately
mid.
as the spike is now down. Sky is going to very carefully recover that spike for their team, as although, you know, the firefight was intense there, we only really saw a trade so far.
Yeah, and everything's kind of resetting back to the usual here. So there's a lot of opportunity here for Boise State to push because everybody's kind of spread out. So once they figure out that Michigan State is spread out, then they can maybe get a pick and then break that chain and figure out where to push.
As Spike handed off to Sova, they're going to take a look over. They see the
Standing
Killjoy
ahead.
zone, and they're going to do a little recon. Not seeing anyone in the hallway, they're going to move up, but what they don't see is the people in the cubby. Skies is taken out immediately by the opposing Jet in there, as Jet and Sova begin to just try and hold down the area as much as they can. However, with Masters and Prestige moving up, they're able to take them out and begin the spike plant, with the Spartans only having 2 players left.
With that thorn out of their side of the backside players, it's going to be a lot easier for Boise State to maintain control of the site. They just have to make sure that they're picking together and that they don't get too cocky with their holds, I guess.
As smoke goes down, Skelis is gaining some little bit of vulnerability here as his 2 teammates sit on backside trying to back him up. However,
One enemy
in
remaining.
from the right, Skelis does not see them immediately, but is able to take them out, and Boise State able to take the first round. Shake it up a little bit from what we saw in the first match. Not really wanting to give up here, but I mean, as we've seen, Boise State has been performing really well on the attack side so far.
And considering how much Boise State liked to do those big pushes on Haven, it was interesting to see Michigan State give up both sites and play from mid control. And I wonder if they're going to do something similar on their rifle rounds, or if that was just kind of a pistol round oddity.
Yeah, I think that could be interesting as well. And we'll be jumping into the next round, which the name of the game for Michigan is survive and try and cut them off as much as they can, which they're not going to be able to do as Skies immediately takes out the trio. That much needed nullification here as 2 players go down quickly right afterwards. Boise State beginning the plant. They know that there's a player up top, but they can't do anything yet, as now Boise State is able to just hold down the site.
Once again, we're seeing Michigan State having to push in with this man disadvantage, and Boise State's just going to not give them any peeks or any chances to really...
Last player standing.
Trying to throw out a nano swarm, but Skies was there ready, popping up, just quickly taking 2 characters out immediately, and Boise State able to secure another round. I kind of appreciate how Skies was just sitting there, kind of just a little bit gremlin-y, you know, like you're like sitting there, you're like, yes, I'm ready, I'm so ready, and then you realize they're there, and you just pop up, and you're like, boom, done,
yeah.
gone. It's such a fun thing when you get to sit there and just, it actually pays off. I'm horrible at that. I cannot, my anxiety immediately activates, and I'm like, but what if they moved? What if they rotated? What do I do? But then, you know, the fun of Comp Valorant is that you have people in your microphone who can tell you, yes, don't worry, they haven't moved.
I
Just
got your
wait a
back.
little bit longer. This'll pay off. Jumping into the next round, we're gonna swap over to the B side.
Spike
with
down,
Marion
B.
being taken out by Killjoy, standing up where the turret normally would be. The spike is lost for Boise State really quickly there.
And after recovering it, Boise State's going to be able to push into the site. Backside player, which Monroe is able to find the connection on the Skies.
Last player
Down
standing.
to 1 player trying to hold the spike. The Spartans are able to take a round and prevent Boise State from doing the absolute like onslaught of wins that they got last time.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a shutdown there, but they're still going to have their rifles, so we're going to see kind of an even round here. Everything's up into the air, and Michigan State and Boise State have kind of seen how they've been approaching this map, and so we're gonna see like kind of some counter strategy now to what's been going on.
Yeah, Boise State not wanting to really push that B side. Kind of decided that wasn't very fun with how everything went last time around. Killjoy setting up their turret in the usual spot and deciding maybe it needs a friend. Staying actually fairly close up as we've been seeing Michigan State move to try and prevent Boise State from moving up fast as well. We'll have to see at this point who's going to be able to get the first picks off of that as we see Michigan State move up through the other sightline to see if they are watching. Sky's watching that sightline while the rest of Boise State is nearby. Boise State not wanting to take an immediate move into any of the sites, knowing that first person to walk out might just go down.
Especially when all of the players are consolidated together like this.
Jumping into the firefight, Ice Bear takes out Prestige, Skies takes out Frog, and Illogical takes out Skies. Boise State comes out of the firefight, one less player, but is able to get onto site. So that might not be the worst situation for them here as they do a little bit of a plant but don't commit to it, trying to bait out where the Spartans might be. Checking the angle, they find a Killjoy. Killjoy is down and the barrier mesh goes up, locking down that sightline there. We see Michigan State isn't able to get through it immediately.
No charges.
To throw down some extra security here on Boise State's side as the spike is now planted.
And all of a sudden, it's switched into Boise State's favor. And we're going to see how they're able to fare against all of this utility. Rihanna is able to find the trade.
One enemy remaining.
And Master's able to find the cross here.
Master out Moonro and Rihanna taking out Ice Bear. Boise State able to stop Michigan from taking another round in a row here and getting the spike down, giving them some comfortable resources ultimates-wise here. I mean, we see right now that we've got Jet, Skelesis on Sova, and Rihanna with Annihilation. That is... Oh, that's going to be some massive damage whenever Boise State decides to activate it. I would be curious to see if the Jet activates ult immediately, since we've kind of seen both players decide that that's kind of the way they want to go with it right now, just guns blazing.
Yeah.
Or I guess knives blazing in that case.
Get out of my way!
Going into the next round, Skelesis looking for an angle for some information. Bounces it off there, knows that there's some players in the back line, and with that, Ice Bear takes out Skies fairly quickly. Crazy firefight going on in the middle. Players left and right taking out. The Annihilation tries to go out, but the Jet has brought out the precision weaponry, and Boise State gets halted before they can even get onto site.
Ooh, that is just tough, especially with the Annihilation being canceled mid-animation.
That's painful.
That's always the worst.
And we didn't even really get to see it, but Skies did activate Bladestorm as well, so now what Boise State had, which was a comfortable 3 ultimate position, they're now only down to Hunter's Fury, which is nothing to sneeze at, but it'd always be nice to have the 2 ultimates really do something before you get taken out. And
with these worse guns, they're going to have to really go for more of a gambly play and see if they're able to cash out here.
While on the state side, they're fairly comfortable with their eco with that. Gonna back off a little bit from the baseline. That's gonna Boise State kind of a through line to move through here. Tries to go, takes out the turret, spot Munro as both Nicola and Munro take out multiple players before being taken out themselves here. Now, Boise State down to 2 players. Prestige taking out Frog. It's now 2 players down on Michigan State side to 3 players down on Boise State side.
And with the bomb coming down into this fairly free site, it seems like the favorites once again going to switch towards Boise State as the
one enemy remaining.
Get it down.
Spike planted.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Prestige is caught out there by Illogical.
Prestige down. Now it's a 1-man ban for Skelesis here, holding down the site with an Ares. Interesting, kind of short range. Here is going to be accosted by 3 players. The Spartans jump down, know where he's hiding, and are able to take him out fairly quickly and get the defuse.
It's always tough trying to win the 1v3, especially when the opponents know your exact location.
Well, and that Ares isn't exactly the most accurate with those ranges either, so not exactly the weapon you want to be dealing to get those sightlines on, but ooh, interesting addition to the round. We saw an operator come out for the Broncos last time, and this time around the Spartans have decided to fire back, getting their own op out, which as we saw Frog with the precision shots previously, could be very deadly.
Yeah, that if he was doing that with the Marshall, it's going to be almost impossible to push mid now that he has the op.
And, well, not only the op, but they have Odin once again, so really loving on the Odin there, trying to shoot through the wall, get some stray bullets onto Boise State. Recon bolt goes out, which they do deny, and Cypher holding back some stuff, kind of causing them to waste some util with the nanoswarm going out there. Does take some damage, but ultimately for them, just trying to distract them as much as possible. Skelis is going to try and gain some information, bringing out the Owl drone as the rest of the team creeps up, still trying to figure out what side they prefer, and we see the op go through with Rairiana. As soon as they peek that area, just gone.
And the second Boise State realized that, they know where they're not going.
Yeah, Boise State's like, nope, that's okay. We'll move to B side, and with that, Boise State jumps onto the B site. Knows that there's someone in the backside, telling Sova with his Odin. For any potential kicks, Boise State just moves in and able to get out of that relatively unscathed, clearing out the backside for themselves. As the Killjoy goes
30
out.
seconds left.
Killjoy going to try and prevent Boise State from getting the plant. Boise State kind of locked in this corner here, trying to take out players as fast as possible. While stuck in the backside here.
Last player
Down to
standing.
2 players. Now
One
both teams
enemy
at
remaining.
1 player left. Omen versus Cypher. Boise State on the backside.
10 seconds left.
Spike. Plant tries to take out the Omen, but isn't able to follow him.
Very, very tough situation to be in there. Having to get the bomb down in 10 seconds while not dying, it's almost impossible. But that was a very good effort there.
Yeah, if anything, just being able to get them to back off was good there. And honestly, as much as that backside is powerful, it can kind of become a kill box if there's enough people with the right angles. And we saw that right there. That Killjoy ultimate, just like lockdown really forced them to make a lot of choices they didn't want to make there. And put Michigan State in the lead once again. 4-3. A little bit more back and forth than we've seen in the previous match. And, well, as we were talking about as well, that suppression has gone out. Kind of stalling Boise State from making any immediate decisions. Going to throw out some grab nets, see if we can get any players here. Skies does get Ice Bear. Moving up immediately. Oh, the operator once again claiming 2 victims for Michigan here. As Rairiana is down, now it's up to Omen and Sofa to get the plant, which they are able to. Hopefully they can. Oh my goodness!
Oh, what was that?
Skelis is realizing he can get that sneaky angle. We're back again with the funny secret lurks. This time it's not going to be Astra, but Skelis is to get an incredible spray there on all 3 players. Wow.
That was a great spray transfer.
And with that, able to take out the operator as well, which much needed destruction of the Spartans' eco. Wow.
They're in shambles now.
Oh, that must be a good feeling for Skelis. It's not only did he get that, but his KDA raised enough that now he's going to get to sit at the top for a little bit there. I mean, it's a really nice spot for Boise State. Moving on to the other site here, trying to go for some recon. The Spartans are all the way up front, and Boise State learns that very quickly as 2 players are taken out. They are able to take down one. Michigan kind of mows down Boise State here. It's now up to Skelis. Skelis is the last player left. 2 players for Michigan, 1 player for Boise State. Kind of a gun in a dream here with 20 health.
I mean, but we have seen him get 4 before. In fact, his last round. So
he was the guy who caught them off guard through the window, and now the site is open. He's just not fully sure of where they are, and the Spartans aren't sure where he is either.
This really is a game of cat and mouse right now. Just trying to figure out where to push and where people might be holding. Everything's up in the air right now.
Yeah, we can see Skelis is really trying to think about where he could go, and Michigan State kind of just planning on catching anyone who decides to go through the spawns right now.
30 seconds left.
The most information they're going to gain is going to be through a plant, and we do see a recon bolt go out. Michigan now learning where the Broncos are. as he's begun the spike plant, tries to go for the peak, but isn't able to get it, and Michigan State able to move in for the defuse.
Unfortunately, the crosshair placement was on key there, but Jet was crouching.
Yeah, that one flash right there, too, did not help. Did not give him the chance to react, really. He saw just barely for a second that his crosshair was off and then was gone.
Yeah, that was great teamwork by Michigan State, really.
Yeah. Something I thought interesting as well was just kind of how they chose not to really move around. They recognized that they had the player advantage and just chose to sit there and wait for the opportunity, maybe get a lucky pick if they thought that Skelesis was going to try and be sneaky again, and in the end just kind of watching those sight lines, waiting for the plant, ended up giving them what they needed, though. Skelesis, I'm impressed that he guessed where they might be and was able to get the recon bolt off. I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
when he went that way, I'm like, there's no way that you realized that they might be there. So that was pretty cool to see. You can see some setup for Cypher on B site and move over to the A site here as Boise State is trying to determine where they might go. Not immediately moving up with the spike, while Michigan State, once again, really moving up into that middle ground, able to take down 2 Boise State players, a third as well. A site almost completely taken out, with now Boise State down to both just Cypher and Jet. Michigan moving in. Paranoia does go through. Cypher being boxed in slowly but surely. Tries to go for Moonrow, but he, with the Odin, is able to take him out as headshot. Skies gets a logical, hanging out on the site here, going to pick up a better gun, gain a little bit more of an advantage, but this is now a 4v1 with it not really being cat and mouse at this point, more of just a Hunter versus the one really fast if they feel like it Rabbit here.
Skies is making sure that every angle is cleared. It's been so
30
long
seconds
since
left.
Michigan State has even been seen that they could be pretty much anywhere. And really any kill here would just be extreme value for Boise State, as they would be able to take a rifle out of their hands.
Unfortunately for Boise State, they know where Spike is and where Spike is, and not able to get the sight line set up, allowing Michigan State to take the next round, gaining a 2-round lead here.
One thing to note is that Boise State is now also on the rifle round, and they have 4 ultimates in the economy here, which is going to be... There's a lot of different plays they can make here, and different ideas they can approach. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to push into a site, and if the KO might cancel an ultimate or something with his knife.
True, a big value here for Illogical could be to shut down any ultimates that go through, and he is very close to his own ultimate as well. Boise State already getting into a firefight here. 2 players down on Boise State's side. Moonrow really loving that Odin. Able to take out players. Illogical moving in as well. The Spartans capitalizing on the blade field here as they try to go for the ult as well. Annihilation does go out. And take out a player.
One enemy
Capitalize
remaining.
on it. The Killjoy does go down, and through just kind of the back and forth firefights through the back here, are now both 1-to-1 player. Boise State looking for the sightline, looking down those angles. We're just barely avoiding each other at this point here. My goodness, that could have been really bad for the Broncos if Michigan had fully peeked that angle, but now they just get to sneak on past to A side here.
And I think we're going to go all the way around the world, because Boise State, the Broncos do know where Michigan State last was, but Michigan State has 0 information about Skelis'
30 seconds left.
Yeah, if you haven't, we haven't gotten to get a good look at the map yet, since PEC has yet to really go on ascent. So if you were looking for your tour of the map while we're waiting for the spike to get planted, well, we get to take a little look around the bottom area of Site A, a little bit of the top, a little bit around back defender spawn. Spike is going to get planted, so we're now going to get a little bit less of this tour, but Boise State's going to move back to an angle where they feel more comfortable watching, less sightlines to deal with, as now the Spartans have to figure out how to best enter the site.
Yeah, it's really just Moonrow doesn't know where Skelesis could be, if he's playing his ultimate, if he's sitting on site. There's so much that he has to do. Skelesis really just...
His recon bolt was wrong.
take flight.
Couple hops to try and spot him, gets the target off. He knows exactly where he is and is able to shoot him through the wall. Doesn't have to really worry about taking a dangerous peek.
Last
After,
round
I guess, the two
before the
dangerous
switch.
peeks he did kind of use. With that, Boise State not having to really use that many ultimates either. Annihilation went out that round, but they're still hanging on to everything else.
Yeah, that's great for them. And now we're once again going to be able to see what type of plays they want to make. Except we will notice that Illogical now does have his ultimate. And the null command is really able to shut down a lot of everything. So we're going to see kind of what goes on here.
Get out of my way! Michigan State is they do like running characters. Right into it, my goodness. Left and right, Odin is paying off here. As Boise State is down to one player, KO is going to use his ultimate. And he just has so many players here that Boise State wasn't really able to do anything. Man, we didn't really see it fully. Just
Switching
back
sides.
and forth. I mean, hey, you were talking about it, how KO is able to really just kind of lock everything down with the null command, and we saw it right then and there. Boise State got caught by it and wasn't able to do much.
But now that we're at the next half, we will notice that we were saying Boise State had the advantage on defense, and they didn't do too bad considering everything here. 7-5 isn't terrible, considering that their attack is going to be their weaker side, so you know, we're going to see what's going on here.
I am curious to see if it will be their weaker side, because although Cypher is better on defense, he is kind of the pick that you go for out of all of like the defense characters. Granted, as we were talking about, it's the Deadlock Cypher that's going to be so nasty, and we can already see that a little bit with Cypher on one side and Deadlock on the other, but the Spartans really don't want to waste time here. Moving up through middle, KO Knife trying to pull as Ray Rihanna prevents really a lot of movement. Mid-market is really excited to move in, but they do get hit. Grab him. This bear is
Last
all
player
out. Michigan
standing.
State completely gone here, except for Munro, with Boise State having 3 players left.
And now in the 3v1, Boise State really just has to play their cards right, and they have a winning hand right now.
Yeah, Sky's just chilling around the corner. I mean, taking a play out of Michigan State's book earlier, waiting for that plant to just give you more information on what's going on. They know he's going to want to chill in the backside. At this point, it's just kind of waiting him out. Paranoia is going to go out. They push onto the area, just trapping him in that backside there and taking him out. With that, Boise State takes the first round of the swap, which, as we've talked about, that's always a really good thing to get.
And I think credit where credit is due. The reason why they won that was Deadlock's grab net. The grab net on its own kind of doesn't do much, but when you combo it with pretty much anything, it gets a lot of value.
I mean, yeah, we saw Ice Bear just completely stuck, unable to really do anything, as he just had to wait to be either released from the grab net or be released through a form of being taken out from the match, and unfortunately for him it was the latter. And now Boise State has gained a bit of a gun advantage here, going to activate a recon bolt. And does get a little bit of information off. Michigan State not wanting to push up through the middle like they did last time. Now going to check out how the A-side defenses are looking. Paranoia goes out. Well, smoke goes down actually for Omen, as Omen kind of just going to restrict their movement and make them think twice before moving up.
And right now, Boise State really is just waiting for what's going to happen, and they have Jet on call no matter what to really go to which site needs the help. But they do need to be careful of that mid-push. The lurk might actually be the weakest point of their site right now. Good kill from Prestige.
Revealing
Prestige
area.
able to take down really most of the opposition on the A side here, as the Spartans are floating around the middle right now, with Omen pushing up towards the B side, trying to spot anything, but doesn't really see anyone. Going to check up through spawn. At this
30
point, Boise
seconds
State
left.
just locking down the sites, sitting on them as comfortably as they really feel like right now. And
Revealing area.
potential angle, sees the knife go down, and no one's caught in it. Knows that there are players there. The question is, does he know how many? This guy's is able to take out Frog on the other side, but Munro does get Masters. The smokes go
10
down.
seconds
Some
left.
visibility, but Skeletons is trapped between 2 players, and Munro is able to take him out as the plant begins. Rihanna moves in with the judge.
One
gets
enemy
a bunch
remaining.
of just good damage off as Skies is able to help them mop up and get the defuse.
And something I noticed there was Skies had a ghost, which means maybe we're saving up for an op.
I would not be surprised if there was an operator in the future. I mean, Jet and op just goes together pretty similar, like just well. I mean, Skies is very comfortable with the op to the point that he'll take op on characters that you wouldn't normally want to take op on, like Neon, which not always the best, but it has worked out in the future. But before we get the op, we are going to see
The Outlaw.
the Outlaw, which, as we've seen in the past, those precision weapons, if you're on the right sightline, can be super nasty. And looking where he's setting up right now, I wouldn't be shocked if he's going to try and peek through the middle zone. We'll have to see if Michigan State decides that's their best bet or decides to push up through B site.
And since Michigan State was a bit greedy last round, they only have light shields, so the Outlaw is basically an op this round.
Yeah, Skies knows that too. Watching that middle area, doesn't spot anyone immediately as Michigan moves up here. Jet moving in, darts in to try and get some kills, but Asper's able to take them out. Skelesis is suppressed. Not holding back, taking out 2 players with the Sheriff here. Now just holding down the line with his good old buddy Masters here on the Cypher. Stopped, and oh my goodness, he takes out the KO through the wall. Gets an idea of where he is and is able to just accurately pinpoint that. Now
Standing
gonna
ahead.
recon bolt for more information. Silva is not able to take it out. And as he has to back off with the spike, Boise State essentially shut down that push, and they're a lot worse for wear now with where the Spartans want to be.
Yeah, now Moonrow's going to have to
30 seconds
flush
left.
out a 1v5 here with only 30 seconds. It seems like maybe saving is the best option, but as long as Boise State just holds strong and doesn't get a little over cocky with their piece, this should just be a free win.
Yeah, at this point, Boise State just gathering resources as Sova is hanging out in the
10
middle
seconds
here.
left.
Doesn't want to really push any fights, though if he can get a lucky hit off, he's more than happy with that, but Prestige is sneaking up here. There's a chance in these last couple seconds that he's going to see him, and he does, in fact, take him out, though Ray Rihanna is also taken out in the process, so Boise State's not going to get that flawless this round.
Unfortunate that we didn't get the flawless, but Skelsis, I want to check his computer. Those are some nice shots.
I'm very impressed by that one there, and I mean, I'm looking at the KDA right now. In the previous match, we didn't get to talk about it a lot, but we were actually fairly even. So we're starting to see a breakaway here from our Sova players. 17 to 10 right now. That's a pretty nice spot to be with kind of the runner-ups being not so close, though the Spartans are a little bit more limited. Michigan State not all moving up together this time around. The opponent moves up for some information. Doesn't want to really get caught in anything. As the recon goes out to try to gather information, and Masters, deciding that the Omen was pretty fun to watch when Spartan was using it, decides to use it himself and takes out the Omen. Oh my goodness.
Ran away.
I must wait a moment.
You know, we haven't really seen a lot of Omen gameplay, but if you were ever wondering what it looks like, well, we're seeing plenty of it now, as it's now taken out 2 members of the Spartans.
Skies is aware of the fact people could be mid right now, so making sure to always just hold the angles that the team needs is something huge.
Logical looking through the smoke.
Enemy down.
Is not able to
One
Skyless
enemy
takes him
remaining.
out. Skies
Spike
getting
down,
that
mid.
much desired outlaw shot. Tries to follow it up. He's not able to immediately hit the Jet, but Jet is kind of just barely hanging on here, trying to hide in the cloud, and is not able to as Prestige takes him out. And Boise State able to prevent them from even really getting onto site this time around.
Once again, a near flawless round from Boise State there. And now we're going to see Skies pick up the operator instead of that outlaw. So it's going to be even more dangerous if you're Michigan State trying to push mid.
Ooh, looks like Ice Bear is not a fan of getting hit by the Odin so many times. He's going to bring out an Odin of his own. This is a fun little mirror to see. We haven't seen that in a little bit. Honestly, kind of funny, if anything. We went from, like, no Odins ever to a bunch of Odins everywhere, which, you know, this map has a lot of good walls for that, so it makes sense. considering the Owl Drone to gain some more information. While there, Wolf Skies does not get the opportunity to use the off as much as they want. Gets taken out, but Masters is able to take out the Killjoy.
Revealing area.
Boise State gaining some more information, trying to see if there's anyone around, but the Spartans have already decided to move
Spike
on, and it
down
doesn't
A.
end up playing out for them the way they would want either, as Ray Rihanna takes out 2 players and activates Annihilation.
Nothing
Tries
there.
to see if they get lucky, but no one's over there, and at this point, though, have been a bit of a menace.
One enemy remaining.
Takes out Ice Bear with his Odin, now seeing the last player.
Throwing
They know they're there. With the grav net going down, Michigan State has to move up very slowly here.
Yeah, very careful approach, making sure that Frog is isolated from a single angle. It's just kind of a difficult task now.
Yeah, 1 to 2
30 seconds
here.
left.
Does take down the Cypher before using the angle. Ray Rihanna knows exactly where they are, though. The smokes go out, trying to create some cover as Michigan State begins to move in. Going to activate a Gale, try to get some updraft move around. Goes for a fake plant to try and bait someone out.
Last
12 seconds on the clock, not a lot of time left as Ray Rihanna takes them out, though Skelis unfortunately gets taken out in the process. Boise State not able to save as much as they would want, but their eco is looking so good right now, it doesn't hurt them too much.
And I guess they don't really even need like that many weapons if Rihanna is just going to be a one-man army over there on the site. Able to hold down, what was that, a 3-man push just on his own?
I think so. I mean, it started with 2 players that were immediately taken out by Ray Rihanna. They went into the Annihilation, but no one was the area they were guessing. And then there was a rotation that happened as well. And although the trade did happen with the Omen, they took out the player with the Omen. So yeah, I think that was like a 2 and a 2. But yeah, it was a lot of players. And I mean, that's what we were talking about with that defense. And that's what Deadlock and Cypher really are comfortable with. And Deadlock more than happy to take those fights and win them at this point.
Yeah, being able to just lock down those sites as a solo person is just so huge. That's something we weren't able to see on Haven due to the 5 sight lines. But now that we're on a map with 4, it's kind of a lot. It's a lot more.
You can breathe a little bit
Yeah.
more, really like think about it, and you're not making as many just like guesses on is this the most likely spot, where are they most likely to pop up from, and that has been serving Boise State well as they've been able to stay toe-to-toe with the Spartans this time around, taking the advantage here at 10-7 with a 3-point lead right now, getting into the end game and a spot that the Spartans really don't want to be.
No, they do not. And it's not even like they have an advantage on ultimates here. The Spartans, they're still even keel
out of my way.
against Boise State's.
So with that ultimate in mind, Ultimate is going to be activated, and Sova is going to fire back in reply here. Actually, Boise State activating 2 ultimates, just trying to tell the Spartans, like, nope, you don't scare us with Jet, as Jet is taken out. And now the Spartans not able to get up as fast as they want to. Looking around as Skies rotates over. Boise State pretty confident that they might be there, seeing a player. Now knows where they might be. Going to very slowly get the angles. Dodges out of the way of the recon bolt. Well, tries to, but isn't able to. As Skelesis moves through market here. Ice Bear takes out Prestige, but Skelesis knows exactly where they are. Shock Dart. Well, Recon Dart goes out, and Master takes out the Killjoy with the Odin. Now Michigan State not able to get what they want out of that site either, and with 2 players left, 1 lurking in the back line here. Now they really just need to decide how quickly they want to rotate. What do they do right now? Boise State not really able to move up
30
yet.
seconds left.
Omen is trying to hold them back.
Spike planted.
Going to activate a teleport to rejoin his teammate as they close the door. State trying to get some things off, not able to. And now, Michigan State has managed to get the plant and get both players onto site to hold down these sight lines.
One enemy remaining.
That Boise State
You see that right there. Yeah, with that, Sky is able to take out the opponent. Masters going for the defuse here. We did see a neural theft go out as well, so Cypher down the hat. Now going to get an ultimate point back to be able to use it again. Cypher without his hat is such a funny thing to me.
I swear. He becomes like a smaller hitbox when he does it.
I swear it's real, guys, I promise. I talked about this once, but I just think it's really funny. His theming is like an owl, right? Like, you know, Cypher is an owl. For those who, like, if you know what owls look like when they've been hit, like, by water, they go from, like, super foofy, really cute, like, super poofy looking to just completely shrunken down. And it's the same exact thing with Cypher. I feel like that's the effect they went for. Like, someone on the art team knew that that was a thing and decided that for him. And I love it so much, even though it freaks me out. And we're going to jump into a firefight on this site here. Rihanna taking Moonroo out, and Snows is being taken out as well. Boise State suppressed right now, trying to be careful, but the Null Command is going to be out here. They are able to deny the KO from getting this whole out of his ult here.
Spike planted.
Plant is going to go down. Master taking out a Killjoy, but Killjoy taking out Prestige. Boise State down to 3 players. Michigan State down to 2. Oh my goodness.
One enemy remaining.
Kind of a tough time for Michigan State. Master's able to just land all of those shots.
Really all you needed to do was hit one stray bullet there, so the spray did the trick, and now Boise State able to get the defuse, is now going to go on to match point here.
They have quite the advantage here to press. With all of these rounds left, even if they're losing the rounds, they can just build up their ults and then kind of just win around for free with your ultimates.
This is going to be a huge round here for both teams. The Broncos know that right now, this is their opportunity to take the first seeded team in the PEC and just quickly take them out, which we can see they're preparing for right now. Full shields, rifles, Odin, the operator, the everything. And the Spartans know that this is their kind of one opportunity to shut down Boise State, to cut off the momentum, to prevent the game from ending. They can't win it, but they can only really just hope to stop it. And Boise State and the Spartans know that right now. So as we get into this, this really is the determiner here. I mean, Boise State knows. One quick move, and we can see both teams moving into action immediately with that information in mind. Rihanna going to lock down that middle zone, so Michigan State decides to move towards the A site here. Into the Omen sightlines, Paranoia goes out, causing Boise State to have to move back as creates the space, but you see the operator go out, going to take out a player there as Killjoy takes out Prestige. Boise State down a player, but Michigan State is down 2 as a Night takes out the Killjoy. It's now 2 to 4.
Michigan State. It's quite nice for Boise State.
Boise State holding down their sidelines. They have a comfortable spot here as the Odin is
Spike planted.
Suppressing the spot. Spike does get planted. Boise State's going to go around the
Enemy
door.
remaining.
Takes out Ice Bear. Ice Bear is the only person here that was hanging out. And with that, Michigan State is taken out. And Boise State is able to get the defuse.
What a nice way to win the game.
Defenders win.
A classic Boise State almost flawless here. That seems to be the theme of the defense.
So close, but so far away. And with that, Boise State, what could have been one of the toughest matches for us in the PEC so far, able to take the round, take the match, and overall take the game. And 7-13, Boise State feeling pretty comfortable going into just the next couple weeks here. I mean, one of the scariest teams, you just kind of went, you know what? It's you've had a great run, but we're going to shut you down now.
Yeah, I mean, they played like a flawless attack on the first map, and then they go into the next map, and it's kind of not even close again. Like, they played another flawless half. So it kind of shows just how dominant Boise State really is if that was the #1 seed and they were able to do that.
Yeah, with that, now the competition is going to become a little bit more varied now. We don't have any teams at this point who have been able to keep their 0-match record. And with that, we have everything that we've going to show you for tonight with that incredible win for Boise State and just an incredible match for both teams. We are so excited to have you join us tonight as we've seen all of this action. So have a great night, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.